From the alley-oops at Kezar to the glory days at the stick. From who's got it better than us to brick by brick. It's always the 49ers way, from off-season to game day. Yeah, we talk back. It's the 49ers Cutback.
It's 49ers Cutback Podcast time. Welcome to the show. Time to talk about another undrafted free agent and a guy that's been on everyone's mind, Khalan Laborn out of Marshall. What an exciting prospect. Going to get it all into it in this episode and start talking about the impact of an undrafted free agent, and can another undrafted free agent potentially make this 49ers roster. So thanks everyone for coming through. Like the video if you can. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, on the push for 4K. So Khalan Laborn, what an interesting guy. Now, I'm a Florida State fan, so I was aware of who Khalan Laborn was before. He was at Florida State before ultimately transferring to Marshall. At Marshall, he had a tremendous amount of success in his last season there. He had over 1,500 yards rushing. He's explosive. He's fun. Now, watching him on film, you would think this guy runs a 4.4 or lower. And when he ran his 40 at his pro day, reportedly he ran a 4.5. That's a little bit slower than I was anticipating him run. But it's probably part of the reason he went undrafted. 49ers are looking for players they can find as undrafted free agents that could potentially come in and make their football team. It's a lot of competition. Now, of course, if they don't, they want guys that they can have on the practice squad and continue to develop. We've seen the 49ers do this in the past. Other undrafted free agents have made an impact on their team, including Matt Breida. So 49ers had Jordan Mason last year. Came in, was able to make the 49ers 53-man roster and never looked back. He even took a pretty good amount of snaps in games, had some pretty nice carries and rushes, and he's somebody that's fun that the 49ers are looking advantage to having on their roster. Big physical guy. Laborn is different than Jordan Mason as far as big and physical. Laborn doesn't exactly have the size Jordan Mason does. At 5'11", 198 pounds, he's a different build. Yet he breaks tackles at an alarming rate. This guy definitely has the ability to break tackles and get extra yardage. This is probably something that was very appealing to the 49ers training group and draft group, because looking at him, and you can see somebody that could potentially fit into what the 49ers want to do. Khalan Laborn is a solid player. I like this film. When I started hearing everyone talking about Laborn, I decided, hey, I need to take a deep dive into this guy and watch more film of him at Marshall. So I did, and I put on some of the game film, and I saw a guy that was very instinctive, who had enough speed when he got around the outside to be able to break for long touchdowns. I saw a guy that felt comfortable catching the ball in the backfield and definitely fitting into what a 49ers would like from potentially a third down back. So he's definitely somebody that makes sense for the 49ers. He's a scheme fit in every avenue in every way. And of course, if you're a 49er fan, you have to fall in love with an undrafted free agent, especially a running back, right? That you're going to root for, cheer for, and expect to come up and make the team. And with the 49ers' success with undrafted free agents, including Matt Breida, Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson Jr., and Jordan Mason, why would you not, right? Why would you not think that Laborn has an opportunity to make this team? I do see a lot of the strengths, the ability, the speed, the quick acceleration, the catching ability out of the backfield. Those things all stand out, not to mention the fact he's able to break tackles. But what are some of the things that Laborn struggles with? Well, one thing I noticed was that he did rely on his speed a little bit more than his vision. And what I'm talking about is there were opportunities for him when he was running the football in his team in college to turn upfield and get yards earlier, where he was supposed to go through the line of scrimmage earlier and get vertical then. And he would go ahead and stretch it out to the outside. Now, a lot of times those plays still worked out. He was able to stretch it to the outside and get down the field and make a play. You might ask me, Ant, well, why is that a problem then? If he can do that, just let him do it. Here's the problem. When you're playing in college, you can do that. These are different players. Now you're in the top 1%, and this is the NFL. When you're supposed to get vertical, you get vertical. Because if you try to stretch it out like that, there's linebackers like Fred Warner that can run sideline to sideline and run you down. Now, there will be the occasion where you need to break out because those holes are filled, and those are okay. But coaches do not want you to break outside unless you're supposed to. They want you to run in the designated location. Now, of course, there are bits of freedom as you learn and create that trust between you and the players. Bobby Turner will definitely want these players to get vertical. That's the coaching point we've heard with every single running back. Get vertical, get upfield, get vertical, get upfield. And Laborn at times will miss some holes. But I think that's what young players do. And I don't think that's very much different than a lot of players in the NFL. That's what separates the big-time players like Christian McCaffrey and the big-time runners from other players. McCaffrey, he doesn't miss those holes. He gets vertical as soon as he's supposed to and gets necessary yardage. So I think that's something Laborn can work on. But he does have a tremendous amount of ability. And the fact that a guy that's 4.5 looks faster on film, I think is a good sign. Elijah Mitchell was a 4.3 guy who looked a little bit slower on film. So it's a little bit different. Now, the prospects for Laborn making this team, I think, are a little bit more difficult. Yes, in normal years, the 49ers used to struggle with running back depth and be able to have players come in. Jordan Mason felt some opposition last year, but then the 49ers moved on from Trey Sermon. In years prior to that, they were just looking for bodies to go ahead and fill in, and that's why players like Jeff Wilson Jr. were able to make the roster. With Laborn, he's going against a 49ers running back room that is really good. He's not even the only undrafted free agent that is coming in to play running back. Ronald Watt is doing that as well. So Khalan Laborn has to potentially compete with Jordan Mason and Ty Davis-Price. And a lot of people are already putting Ty Davis-Price in the bust category. And if you are, then you know that Khalan Laborn would have an opportunity to make this team. I think it's going to be a little bit more difficult than that. I think he's going to have to come in and prove that he can get vertical and make those carries in the middle of the field. If he can, and his vision is more in line with what Elijah Mitchell's vision was in his rookie season, then Laborn could be a real problem. This is a guy that was recruited as an athlete out of college, a guy that could do it all, catch the football, play in the slot, be able to run. So if the vision's there and his one cut and go ability shows up when he gets to training camp, that he could be a real threat to make this roster. Just not easy, because you have guys who have not only done it, but have proved to the coaching staff that they can do it. Christian McCaffrey, Elijah Mitchell, there's no questions with them. Jordan Mason, I'm sure they're extremely high on, and he brings something different than the other ones do, that physicality and tough running to get the extra yard. Ty Davis-Price is the one, right, that Laborn is going to potentially be competing with. And Ty Davis-Price has an advantage of having a year up, but they're different players. They're about the same speed, but Ty Davis-Price has an extra 15 pounds on him. That could be very pivotal. But if Laborn can break the tackles like he did in college, it might not make a difference. I think this is a very interesting battle, and I think Laborn's an interesting player. I think right now I give the advantage in vision to TDP, the advantage in the playing 1 year to TDP, playing for Bobby Turner, playing for Anthony Lynn. Those have to be advantages for TDP. I think once we get into camp and we see how Laborn is adjusting to playing behind the line of scrimmage and when these holes open, getting vertical, I think that's going to be important. If he takes the coaching points and he learns from them quickly, he could be an impact player and may be able to force TDP out of a position. I think it's going to be a tough battle. I think it's going to come down to who can do the little things, like protections on third down. Passing protection was something huge for TDP that he struggled with, that Jordan Mason was better, but even he was not very good. Special teams as well. Can Khalan Laborn make himself valuable as a return man? That will be very important for him. Can he play gunner opposite of Danny Gray and potentially get down there and make plays? You're going to have to do the extras to play for Kyle Shanahan and the San Francisco 49ers. Laborn is willing to do that, then he's going to have an opportunity. So Laborn versus TDP versus Watt for that last spot. It could be a lot of fun. I'm very, very interested to see if he's going to be able to pull it off and make this roster. So he's an exciting player. I know fans are really high on him. Let me know in the comment section how high you are on Khalan Laborn. Do you think he's a shoo-in to beat out TDP, or do you think this is going to be an absolute battle? And go back and watch a little bit of the film and let me know what you think about the vision concerns. I think if you go back and you watch, you'll see a player that has pretty good vision, but at times can definitely miss holes on the inside that he should have went. You press to the line of scrimmage, you find the hole, you jump cut, and you go. And a lot of times he would press to the line of scrimmage, not go through the first hole that's there, and bounce outside. And I think the way the defenders set the edge in the NFL and the way linebackers can run sideline to sideline, those are recipes for losses in the backfield and also no gains. And I don't think that's what you really want. If Laborn is going vertical, he's tougher to bring down than if he's going horizontal. Horizontally, he gets brought down. Running vertically, he breaks a lot of tackles. And I think he runs a little bit tougher than his size would even suggest. So he's an exciting player. Let me know what you think about him. Like the video if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel on the push for 4K. Really appreciate everyone coming through as we go through these undrafted free agents. Of course, if you're interested in the red shirts like TDP, red shirt rundowns coming your way. In fact, a TDP video coming your way in the next day or so. I hope you guys are on the lookout for that. Hit that notification bell so that we get notified every time I put out a video or go live. Thank you so much for watching. But until the next time, stay safe and remember the right way is always the 49ers way.